Okay, this is practice number 15, dated 240203. This one's an interesting case. It's got a couple cylinders, not cylinders, spheres here, and some cylinders inside of those spheres. And so this is really kind of with spatial relation capability. So some people would actually just draw this with a profile, multiple shapes, and then just do the spins from each profile or closed profile region to build this. That's one way to approach it, which I imagine a lot of the traditional CAD systems would use. IronCAD, we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to actually do it with solid shapes out here and the TriBall to position this in space. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll show you how this is done. Some key things to note, as well as this area here. So there's no dimension of where these are, so it has to be where that intersects. If you want to be precise, so we'll show you how to do that. We'll have to use a sketch to do that particular case, other than using a part cone, because we don't know where the start or end of this is. So let's go ahead and get started. And what we're going to first start off with is in our shapes catalog, we're going to go down to our sphere and drop out a sphere. And we know the diameter of this sphere is 30. So we'll go ahead and set that in space. And next, we'll just select our sphere, use our TriBall, and we can actually make a copy of this out here. And we're going to make a copy at a value of 40. And we'll just do that in the opposite direction as well. So we'll repeat that in both directions. And both of these spheres need to be 20, so we're going to go and select both. And then when we change the diameter of this one to 20, they both will change. So now we've got the outer part created here. And now we need to create this cut on our cylinder, our center sphere. So we're just going to drop a cylinder out here onto this. And it's going to drop into some weird location, of course, because it's not really in the center. So it may be in weird space. But the TriBall, what we can do is we'll just drop the TriBall, right click and say orient the TriBall to global. That will put us in global space. And then we can put it into the center point of this to locate it. So then we can just choose which direction we want to start off with. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees to give ourselves a starting point. Now, initially, this one we're going to set to the center point inside of here. So we know, sorry, make sure I got that correct here. We'll go ahead and snap that to the center point of this. There we go. And we know that this sphere is 15 from this side, and it will be half of that. And we need to set this as a 27 is where it's going to cut out. So that's where the actual face needs to be. And so our extrude's in the wrong direction. We can just right click and flip it. So that basically put our edge 27 from here. Okay, so just a very simple way to move shapes around in space. Next, we can just drop our cylinder onto the center point of that face. And in this case, this diameter of this guy needs to be a diameter of 10, and it needs to be a depth of 19. So we'll select that handle and do 19th, 19 there. So we got 19 here, 10 on the diameter. Okay, and next we can do our cutout here. So if we drop our extrude cut onto the quadrant point, we can drop that there. We know the diameter or the width of this is actually 4. And we know this is going to be 12 from here to here. So we just do it to the center point by basically right clicking on this handle, snap to the center point of that. And we know this would be 7 then. In the case, we just change that to 7. So that gives us an easy way to create that notch here. Then we just pull our handle back to snap to there. So that gives us our shape there. Next, we can select our center cylinder here. We're going to make it out here to the other side. So we'll just go ahead and right click this out. And we're going to make a copy of that. And we're going to say that's going to be 40. Put that in the center. So that gives us a starting point here. And again, we can do similar to what we did before. We're going to snap this one to the center point to start with inside of there. And we know this is 10 to be half of that. And the total length of this is supposed to be 15. So that gives us that. And the diameter for that hole is 6. So that gives us our little cut cylinder on the back side there. And we can turn the TriBall on, snap it to the center point of this, and just do a mirror link to the other side. So now we have those 2 holes there. So now we're going to work on our little spin shape here. So again, we can use our part cone that's down here, but we don't know where this is going to be. So we can drop it, then edit the cross section to do it, or we can just start with a spin shape to do this. So we'll just do a spin shape. We'll do a 2D shape here. And what I'm going to do is do a normal to face here, or actually plane face here. There we go. And I'll snap into the center point to start off with. And go ahead and hit OK to place that. And what we want to do is we want to move this back to the center, so we can just turn the TriBall on, lock our axis to the center point of that to get it in the right location. So now that we have that, we can look at our plane and our profile. And what we're going to do is basically create a spin for this thing. So what I'm going to do is just draw some of these lines because we need to know where these intersect, and we know there needs to be one that's 4.5 and one that's 6 inside of here. So we're just going to draw some lines here. So we're just going to draw a 2-point line here, and we can use construction lines for these if we want. So we'll just draw construction. That one's going to be real, but these next one's going to be construction. We're just going to place this one here and this one here, and make sure that they are horizontal, so we can see that that's horizontal there. I do have my position dimensions on, endpoint dimensions, and you can turn off curve dimensions, but I'll show you why. So endpoints tell us where these are sitting at from the XY location. So we're going to move this up to 4.5, and this one's going to be 6 from that. So we can just selectively place those. So we could use an offset curve to do this, but this is the easy way to do this in this case. We're also going to project this cylinder, or this sphere and this sphere out here. And what we need to do, we need to know these intersection points. So this is going to be an intersection here, an intersection here that we're going to draw our angle from inside in this case. So what we can do is just, we can trim this point here, and we trim that one there, and we know our points. So now we can just draw a polyline from here. It's going to be our 6 value, and we can draw a line here from this location down, and we can draw again a line from here to here. And all we need to do is trim off these 2 end pieces here. So we'll go ahead and trim off that piece and that piece. Okay, so now we should have our profile. I forgot to turn my construction off, so let me select these three curves here. We want this curve and this curve. We want to actually make those real. So those are our real curve geometry elements inside of here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a center line on here, so I know that this is going to be my spin axis essentially inside of there. So that's going to be our height value. It's going to be 9, and this is going to be 12 on this end for that. So we'll go ahead and hit finish, and we can simply just run our spin command. Select the feature we're going to add it to, our part that we're going to add it to, which is this part. It's going to spin there, and that's what we want. And we can simply select that. Our TriBall is already in the center, so we just simply right click, mirror, link to the other side. So that basically gives us our geometry that we need for this part. And if we select on this, the properties will have that value here of 78. So it's about 175, 174 should be right. So the 175 is the grams that they're looking for in this particular model. So there you go. That's a very simple way to build this model. Hope you enjoyed.